It is time. I am going to go over all of the stuff that is in my carry-on and my personal item for my upcoming expedition on the EV Nautilus. I'll be gone at sea for about 4.5 to 5-ish weeks, which is a long time. But because we are restricted to just a carry-on and personal item, I get tons of questions that are like, what do you actually bring? What do you bring in terms of food? What do you bring in terms of personal hygiene and preparation and stuff like that? So I'm excited to go through everything in this very informal video. So let's jump in. We're going to talk about my personal item first, which is the REI Ruck Pack 30-liter bag. Love this thing to death. We're going to start with what's on the outside first before we work our way into the main compartment. I'm also going to move my chair up because I feel short. So on the outside compartment, I have my Nautilus baseball cap, which is wrapped around my Joby Gorilla Pod. I've decided with these expeditions where my main thing isn't working with a topside camera, it's just more fun to work with what's easy. So I'm working with my Joby setup, and this is rolled up and shoved into one of the side water bottle pockets of this bag, and the other side is left clear for my water bottle, which is a 32 ounce, I think, normal Awala free sip bottle, and it's got all of my nature stickers on it if you would like to take a peek. Top pocket, I have a couple of things in here. Very important. I've already air tagged this. This is a DJI pouch, but inside of it has all of my like key bare bones tech necessities. I usually have a Peak Design tech pouch that has all of my cables, all of my wires, but for the sake of the expedition and keeping things small, everything needs to fit in here. So what's in the bag, you may ask? Quite a few things. So first thing that I thought was a silly piece of technology that might actually save my butt is this cheap digital watch that I got off of Amazon, but it is set to at the time that it is right now in Pacific time. You can see it says 6:37. And I intend to keep it like this the entire time I'm out on expedition, so I know exactly what time it is back at home. I am kind of working while I'm out on the vessel, but working via, you know, the internet and remotely in a very remote place, but I still need to keep track of when my meetings are and when different, you know, deadlines are happening. So that is going to be super helpful just because I'm kind of multitasking while I'm on the vessel, which is a lot of work, but that'll hopefully help. In one of these top compartments over here, I have spare SD card, a micro SD reader, which is kind of redundant, but I'll explain why. And then I have a case with 2 micro SD cards in it, but those I'm going to give to my other video engineer colleagues because I got them a little something and I think you guys are going to like it too, but these aren't going to stay with me. That is for my 2 other video engineer buddies on this expedition. And you know how I said that little SD card reader thing was redundant? Because I have a little Anchor USB-C micro SD and SD card reader. Jeez, my focus does not want to work. But I have this just so I can throw this into the, you know, bottom of my phone and read any files, but this can also work for my laptop since it has like 3 micro SD slots in addition to the normal SD card slot. One thing that is missing from this pouch that is very crucial, and it belongs in this extra little zippered pocket here, is my 4 terabyte SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. And I'm using it right now for my laptop to edit something right now, but it would live in here alongside its super speedy data cable, which is just a USB-C to USB-C plug. And then the other remaining plug that I have in here is my really annoying proprietary Garmin watch charger, but it is USB-A at the end and then the proprietary plug at the bottom. So I need to bring that because I am bringing my Garmin with me just because I want to keep track of activity and still, you know, work out while I'm on the ship. But I can't really do that and track it if my watch dies like 2 weeks out at sea. So I have everything in this pouch to kind of keep myself sane, keep myself fueled up. And there's a couple more tech things that are kind of strewn throughout my bag, but we'll take a look at that in a second. So like I said, this baby lives up here, so it's pretty quick access. The other things that are up here include a packable tote bag, which is actually huge. Like, this is humongous, but I needed something big because I might snag a bunch of cup ramen and more snacks when I land in Guam before we get onto the ship. And then attached to it is my Kodak camera. I freaking love this thing. I think they're the coolest things ever, and they're just so fun to have, and they're honestly a great gift for anybody, whether you're a camera person or not. So I have that attached to this bag thing so it doesn't just like immediately fall out of this top pocket as I open it and close it. And then the very last thing in here, I have a mask, but I'll be throwing in a couple more just in case I want to, you know, have an extra layer of protection for myself or for others as I'm moving through my travel process, because I have a long travel journey ahead of me for this trip in particular. Now we can move on to the actual guts of the bag. So in this main compartment, we're gonna dive right in. First, there's this little flap of a zipper compartment. On the 40-liter version of this bag, it works really well as like a packing cube of some sort, but because this bag only opens on the top and doesn't zip all the way down the front, it's pretty limited, and so the only thing I can really fit in here is my journal. So yeah, this is my I think this is a Rhodia notebook. Yeah, it's a Rhodia goal book, and it has all of my master plans and goals for the year that I set at the beginning of the year with my friend Erin, and then I just use it kind of as like my sketchbook or just like my, you know, random note taking thing. And it's always helpful to have, you know, just something that is not an electronic device to throw your ideas into and just screw around with. Like, I love it. So at the very bottom of my bag, I have 2 pouches that contain some unique items. So this first pouch contains a fidget cube for when we are on the descent from the surface of the ocean to the bottom of the ocean with the ROV, and I don't have to really do much, and I've done all my checks. Sometimes my hands get a little bored because I want to be fidgeting around with all my silly little buttons and things, but this helps kind of distract, so I'm bringing that. I also have a little personal fan, which is surprisingly so strong. Like, you can hear that. I'm pretty sure you can, but it's pretty good. I also have a Anchor portable charger that also has a plug on the bottom and also an included USB-C. I don't think I'm gonna need it that much while I'm actually on the flight, so it's gonna live at the bottom with this bigger bag. Last thing in here is this little face massager thing, and I like to massage out my face, but also use this on any other sore muscles like my calves or my quads or anything like that. Again, another personal comfort thing. But these things I'm not really going to use while I'm flying and running around airports. So again, bottom of the bag. This pouch has everything that I need and more. These are Koba Hojicha bars, and I was recommended these by my friend Sam. And I met the people who run Koba, and they got me a really great deal on these basically caffeine bars. I'm not really sure how else to say it, but this has the equivalent amount of caffeine in 1 cup of, you know, hojicha tea, which is insane and crazy. And I also don't drink coffee or tea on the regular, like on my day-to-day, so this is kind of a worst case scenario type thing. But as you can tell, I packed for quite a few instances of worst case scenario, because boat life is not for the weak. And then finally, the last thing that is kind of food related in this bag is this box of candy. So snacks are very important. I'm picking up a lot more snacks when we're in Guam, hopefully, but all of this is crucial for morale. So I have Sour Patch Kids, including the watermelon Sour Patch Kids, Reese's minis, and then a little container of extra gum as well. But yeah, that particular box with all of the candy in it lives at the very bottom of my bag, because what if I want a little sweet treat in the middle of my traveling chaos? It's very important to me, so we have that in this personal carry as well. Next thing inside of the personal carry is this. This is a Peak Design extra small or small camera cube. I forgot which one it is technically, but this honestly carries so much in such a small footprint. And because my main thing for this expedition is not necessarily shooting with my camera or a topside camera, I just bring the bare minimum, and that includes the following. I have my DJI mics, which I'm using right now, but this is the case. It fits right up against the edge of this particular setup. Next to it on this top level is a leash by Peak Design. All of my kit has the little Peak Design loops on them, so I can quickly put this on and off. I also have a Joby phone mount with that Joby base plate that fits the Gorilla Pod and also fits any other Joby base plate related items that I'm bringing. And then in the bottom section, because yes, I've separated it into 2 levels, the bottom section contains an extra battery for my camera. And then I have the 70 to 350 mil Sony lens. It's not a full frame lens, even though I'm using a full frame camera, aka it's the Sony A7C Mark II. But yeah, it's just useful to have something that has a little bit more zoom. And then I combine this with the kit lens that I'm using right now. And then we're set, we're golden. That's all we need for, you know, a little adventure. But yeah, everything slots in really nicely into this little pouch. And I'm so thankful that there is honestly a surprising amount of room. There's enough room for me to put my camera right there when I'm not using it, like I am now. But this is the little tech pouch that will live on top of the hojicha bars and the snack box that I just showed you. So that's what it looks like here. Beautiful. The next thing that is in the personal carry, and we're almost done, is this hip pack. This is the Cotopaxi 3-liter hip pack from a few years ago. I forgot the model name, but it's a 3-liter pack. In this small compartment, I have my passport and a passport holder with a pen in case I need to fill out forms for customs for whatever reason. It has my passport, it has some spare change, and then it also has my contact information, which is on a business card in case anybody finds this and I will lose it, you know, but hopefully I never actually get into that situation. And then inside of this little hip pack, I have all the stuff that is very good for comfort on the plane. So I have my eye mask, which has little eye cups so it doesn't press up against my eyeball directly. And then I have this, which I got last time I was out on the Nautilus in American Samoa. And this is quite literally just like a massive shawl that has coral designs all over it, and I freaking love it. And I think when I was in American Samoa, it was marketed as a lava lava, which is like a traditional covering that you can put around your waist and everything, and I was using it like normal lava lava, but I think it's just like a normal shawl. Like, I think it is not necessarily a unique material that restricts me from using it in a bunch of different ways. So this has come with me in so many different situations, and what a great little blanket thing to bring on a plane as well. I also failed to mention that as a blanket is so useful for when I'm inside of the control van of the ROV control room, because the air conditioning in that room is insane and it's going right down my back, and this is a good way to kind of mitigate that breeze that I'm feeling so I don't feel like I'm gonna die of hypothermia while I'm in there. So like I said, this thing is the last big thing in this bag aside from my laptop and my iPad, which I'm using right now, so I can't show you that. But it just lives right on top of where that Peak Design cube is. How convenient is that? Oh my gosh. And then there's one more thing to throw in here that just lives right on top, and it is my, if I can find them, oh, here they are. My headphones. And the headphones I'm not actually going to put in their case, which I know, controversial, but I just don't need the case. It's too bulky, and these will be on my head the majority of the time anyways, so we don't really need it. We don't need it, guys. It's fine. Trust me, it's fine. So that is that. We're gonna move on to the carry-on now, which is a lot bigger. Well, not a lot bigger, but just a little bit bigger in terms of carrying capacity, and it has all of my clothes, more of the snacks, and some other miscellaneous comfort items that I think are very important for this type of expedition. So my carry-on is the REI Big Haul 40-liter duffel bag, and oh my god, it's decently heavy, but it's only around 25 pounds maybe. I could be wrong, but there's no weight restriction on United Airlines, which is how I'm getting to the boat, so I'm not too concerned about that. And it also fits within the sizing restrictions of a carry-on, and I've used this as a carry-on on multiple different flights across many different airlines. It's never been a problem. It's also compressible because it has these little buckles on the side, so I'm not concerned about that. But let's jump into what's actually in it. First thing that's in it, I'll start with the side. We have a little external pocket that holds my silly little utensil pouch, which you might recognize if you're a camera person is a Peak Design pouch, but we don't talk about that. It's just the perfect length for everything I need. So inside of it, I have a spork camping thing. And then the other thing, which I'm really excited about this time around, you guys, are travel chopsticks. And the funny story about the reason why I have travel chopsticks is because the last time I was on the Nautilus, I was assigned the 12 to 4 watch. So 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. and then 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. But when it's your 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. watch, you can wake up right before, like super, super hungry. You ate dinner about 5 hours ago. You've tried to sleep as best you can. And sometimes you just wake up and you're like, I'm ravenous, which is unfortunate because there's no mealtime around 12 a.m. So I made myself cup noodles, and there was one evening, or a couple evenings I should say, where the utensils drawer wasn't replenished and there's nobody else awake and you don't want to bother anybody. So I had to resort to eating my cup noodles with 2 tiny toothpicks, which is not easy. So now I can avoid that debacle in its entirety with my own little chopsticks, which is so sick. So very much a luxury comfort item, but honestly, I'm really proud of myself for making this investment, and I have no complaints now. And now I can bring this with me when I go to like a movie theater and eat popcorn, and I don't want to get my hands all greasy. So I'm excited about this purchase. It's pretty sick. And look at that, it fits in here. Bam, so flat. Look at that profile. It's wild. I love it. And I forgot to mention that this, you probably already noticed already, but it is convertible. So it's a duffel bag. I just have the normal straps attached to the back end of it. And then you can also carry it like a backpack. So I'm going to kangaroo my stuff on this trip, have this on my back, and then have my personal item on the front. Because that's the term, apparently, kangarooing, which is interesting. But let's jump into the contents inside the bag. Looking at the bag, we have quite a bit going on here, but I promise it's a lot more simple as it seems because everything's organized. So shout out to me for this level of organization I struggle to replicate in everyday life. So this first pouch here, these are all panty liners because guess what? I get periods, other people on this vessel get periods, and I am a reusable disc user, so I don't really need big pads or tampons even, but this just helps put an extra little layer of protection if I leak, worst case scenario. And if anybody else needs a little extra layer of protection for any reason, we have it. So this is here, and it's in its own little, pretty flat, skinny little pouch, which is great. Right underneath it, I have the best things ever. You know how I mentioned giving my micro SD cards to my coworkers? Well, it's because I'm giving them Charmara's Millennium Editions. So there's a video engineering intern, which I once was, and then there's a lead video engineer, and I thought it'd be so fun to get them these little cameras because I love my Charmara, and everybody I give a Charmara to adores it. So it's even better for the people who are like professional camera people, because it's like you work with these big hefty cameras on the day-to-day, but now you have a silly little tiny camera you can put on your keychain and capture everyday life with, and it's not high pressure. Like you're not expecting to make a freaking blockbuster out of it. So I'm pretty excited about it, and it's gonna live in my carry-on until I see them, so I can get that stuff out of here and I'll have to deal with them, and it saves me a little bit of space too. Next up in this general space, the next smallish item is this. This is a glasses organizer thing. I don't even know why I said organizer. It's just a glasses case, but I can put 2 glasses in here. I have a spare of my normal glasses in case these break or fall off my face and into the great blue sea. We're covered. And then I have sunglasses. And because I'm traveling so much for the first bit, I'm not putting these in my personal carry just because I don't think I'm going to be reaching for them, if at all. So that's the reason why they're in the big carry-on. The next thing in here is this Cotopaxi Nido accessories bag, which I use as my toiletries and electronics combo organizer because it's quite good at fitting a bunch of stuff in it, but then somehow being decently compact once it's actually in the bag. So in this outside pocket, there's a lot. I have my shampoo in a flat pack Matador container. I have a bar of soap in the super crazy magical Matador flat pack container thing, but for soap, and it like magically dries it without getting the outside icky. I have my curly hairbrush, which is very crucial that I have at all times, no matter where I'm staying or going. And then I have my toothbrush holder. I'm going to put my toothbrush in it, obviously, before I leave, but I have to brush my teeth a couple more times before I depart, so it's empty. Don't worry about it. Continuing in this outside pocket on the side, I have a refillable, reusable toothpaste tube. This 2-week capacity thing is of toothpaste. You don't need that much toothpaste per toothbrush session. So this should be fine to last me for the next like 4 to 5 weeks. And then this smaller, same brand Matador refillable toothpaste tube is actually full of Vaseline. So I better not get these mixed up. I have it committed in my brain and it's pretty obvious when I open the tubes and look at what's in there. But just letting you know too, in case you're ever traveling with me and you're like, I need to brush my teeth. Don't just like blindly squirt what's out there in those little tubes. Like, pay attention, because I don't want you brushing your teeth with Vaseline. In this middle pocket of this little section here, I have some Carmex lip balm, which is always important, or chapstick, floss, normal floss, nothing unique about it. And then I have this lovely little section that contains a bunch of alcohol prep pads, which are, number one, great if, you know, somebody hurts themselves on the boat. But also, if anyone's feeling nauseous or a little seasick, this can kind of help mitigate that nauseating feeling. And right behind it is a little compact mirror, which I can use to like put my eyeliner on every single day if I choose to commit to that. But that's a stretch goal. Totally just a stretch goal. But that's what's here on this outside pocket of my toiletries pouch. And then now we go into this middle zipper, this blue zipper. And this is where a lot of like the technology stuff is gonna live. Here is a converter slash adapter with a cord, so I can actually move this whole unit close to me in my bed if it somehow is far away from the nearest outlet. And another thing to note is that the Nautilus is not a American vessel, in that the plugs are European, so I have to have an adapter and also a voltage converter so I don't fry any of my electronics. And then I'm gonna have my deodorant in here just because it's tall. It just doesn't fit in that other little section that I had my toiletries in. And then I'll also have my electric razor in this middle section too, but I'm using that tonight, so it's not in here right now. And then finally, this last pocket of the accessories pouch, guys, it's never ending. It just keeps flowing, more things. I have body wipes, which are wet ones that are huge, and they specifically help remove like odor, sweat, dirt. I love these things, but I don't think I'm going to use them all the time. This is kind of just like a shower replacement almost, if there are nights where I just cannot get myself to a shower and I don't feel like going through the hassle of that and finding if it's empty or whatever. So that's my little backup there. I also have a roll of Amazon Basics poop bags, because all those, you know, little panty liners that I mentioned, or any other trash that I kind of want to chuck but not scatter per se, I can have a little place to store them. But they also have similar bags like this in the women's restrooms on the ship itself. And I have a little misfit pocket inside of this section of the accessories bag. So I have all my medication. Most of it, you'll notice, is Dramamine, and it's chewable Dramamine, chewable less drowsy Dramamine, and then the normal Dramamine pills that you would take with water. But I also have Advil and Benadryl and Zicam in case anybody's feeling ill in a different way, I guess. And then in this smaller pocket, I have a bunch of different other self-care things. I have an extra flat pack that's empty, so if I go into port and I'm like, I actually want to have a specific conditioner with me, I'll just fill that up. And then I have a black comb, eyeliner, oh god, my tweezers, more alcohol prep pads, my reusable disc, which is by Flex, highly recommend, and then nail clippers, including the little nipper, like toenail nail clippers. I don't really know what to call these, but yeah, all those little things live inside of this zippered pocket here, so everything's pretty well contained. And again, like, this is all fitting in the width of maybe 4 or 5 inches, which is great, and it lives right on the edge of this bag. Continuing on with some of the other content in the bag before we talk about clothes, which is the majority of this bag, I have a box full of Cliff Bars. So again, on the topic of snacks, they exist. And then in this packing cube, it's not clothes, these are actually my Crocs. They're my purple Crocs with my insect gibbets, if you can see that. Yup. And the only reason why that they're in a packing cube is because I needed something to kind of flatten and compress these guys, since I don't really love just throwing them in there without any kind of compression, because I need to make room and I need to have space for things. So I have them in this packing cube specifically for that reason. And then, you guys, even more goodies. I have a pouch full of Starbursts, and these are just like the classic flavors. I almost got the all pink pouch, but yeah, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna play favorites here. Putting the bag aside, I want to show you all the largest item inside of the carry-on, which is this REI expandable packing cube, but it has all, and I mean all, of the clothes, outer layers, and extra like microfiber ultralight towel things that I could be using for the next 5 weeks. We have laundry on the ship, so you truly don't really have to have a towel because they provide towels and linens and stuff, but I personally find that the towels take such a long time to dry, and I'm a very sweaty person, so I want to take a shower quite frequently, so I need something that dries pretty quickly and has like antimicrobial properties too. So I have a Mech ultralight towel in here, and then I also have outer layers like a white basic, just like long sleeve tee over the top, and then I have my Nautilus uniforms, my other work pants, which are convertible by the way, and I'm wearing my other convertible pants while I'm traveling, and then I have a bunch of tank tops, my Nautilus vest, my long sleeves, like all of this other stuff. And I know that I'm going to accumulate a little bit more while I'm on expedition just because I am due for a new sun shirt, and there might be a couple of things I pick up here and there. But aside from that, that's what's in here. I think it's a good setup, and I've brought quite literally the bare minimum that I could to feel, you know, fresh and comfortable most of the time while I'm on this ship. So that's the biggest chunky guy in the carry-on. And oh my goodness, I lied to you. There's one more packing cube, but this, similar to the clothes packing cube that I just showed you, this is all of the underwear and socks and bras for the entire 5 weeks that I'm out. I went overkill with the underwear. It's definitely more than the supply of like 4 to 5 days without a wash, but that's just a personal preference thing, and they're relatively small. Like I can pack quite a few in here, and I know that I overestimate when it comes to undergarments, but I think it's always worth it to overestimate than underestimate, and it just keeps me from having a little bit more flexibility and not having to, you know, stretch myself too thin when it comes to the very important things that are closest to your body while you're in close quarters with a bunch of other people and sharing laundry and space. So this is another kind of comfort related necessity in my brain. And then the absolute final thing that I just kind of stack on top of everything else that's already in the carry-on is this little mug that I got from the Running Wild premiere, which is the IMAX Momoa Pacific Salmon that I have a little mini on-screen bit for, which is really cool. But I got it at the premiere event, and it has the Running Wild logo on it, if you can see. But inside of it, there's no liquid, telling you that right now, but there is a packable, rollable duffel. I also got this from American Samoa, but it's so useful. It's a duffel bag, but it's like super thin material, so I can pack it down all the way. And I can tell you that it fits an entire case of, you know, cup noodles. Because this is how I transported my entire case of cup noodles when I was moving from port onto the ship back in the day. So this is a good little tool to have, and it fits perfectly inside of my little mug, which will serve as my work mug for this trip because I cannot find the lid to my official Nautilus work mug that I got a couple years ago. So sorry about that, but this is an okay replacement, I think. But yeah, that is pretty much everything. So this is the carry-on. Like I said, I'm going to wear this on my back, and then my personal item will be in front of me. And that way I have access to like everything I could possibly need. So the only things that you didn't see actually in the bag are like my toothpaste, my laptop, my iPad, my charger that has all of the plugs for my phone and my laptop, my keys maybe, and then stuff like my SSD and whatever. But those are all things that are going to go in tomorrow morning, the moment that I, you know, do all of my getting ready and putting things away, and then I hit the road. And then next thing you know, it's a big old journey from here to San Francisco, then San Francisco to Tokyo, and then Tokyo to Guam. And then we'll go from there. But I just wanted to give everybody a little sneak peek into what's actually in here, since lots of people ask, what do you actually pack for something like this? But hopefully this is helpful for anyone who might find themselves in a similar position, or anyone who just wants to live vicariously through this adventure. So thank you so much for watching.